everyone, and welcome back to the Coach Dave Academy Gran Turismo channel. I'm Martin Grady, otherwise known as Tijney, and once again I'm going to take you through this week's Gran Turismo daily races and hopefully help you with some tips and tricks and get you up the leaderboards and, more importantly, improve your driver rating. So first up then, we're going to be looking at daily race A. Now for this one, we're heading to Le Mans and we're in the Aston Martin Valkyrie. Here we are on the start-finish straight, and make sure you map the overtake button. First important tip there. If you don't map it, you're going to struggle to get a very fast lap time. We head towards turn 1. I've released the overtake button right now, and we get to this point right here. Okay, so it's just before the curb starts to go straight, or where this lamppost is on the right-hand side. We're going to hit the brakes before we get to this point. The reason being, this car's traveling very fast, and the brakes are not that good, to be honest with you. Although, again, we are traveling quite quick. So I want you to hit the brakes right now. I need you to get as straight as you can the second this corner stops to really slow the car down. Now with the Valkyrie, it's all about slow in, fast out. It's better to make sure you slow down more than normal to get a better exit than the other way around. It's all about carrying the speed on the exit. So we dropped to third gear here. We release the brakes, we turn in. Now the bumper cam is actually, it feels smaller than it actually is. This car is very wide, so you can actually really cut these corners. Just make sure you stay on the curb. Notice the fourth gear exit right there, and I'm already hitting the overtake button to make sure I accelerate out the corner. Fourth gear, a very useful gear in this car in terms of accelerating out of corners. Through right, we've just released the overtake button as we've gone to fifth gear here, and we're already at our next braking zone, which is where the red bit is, where the board is, whatever you want to call that, or as the tarmac ends with the grass. I'm going to hit the brakes right here. I'm going to drop to fourth gear. Now, what you'll find is the car will flick itself around when you drop to fourth gear. Not sure why it does it. Maybe Gran Turismo issue with the physics and this car being so high downforce in terms of the way it is. It's a very unique car in terms of the Aston Martin Valkyrie, so yeah, you are going to have to be cautious with these flicks that this car does when you drop certain gears. We go to fourth gear. We're going to turn in. Now, if you go on throttle, the flicks are reduced a little bit here, and then you start accelerating immediately, and the car will start sticking as you go through these corners. We're going to continue on through here. We're not going to touch the overtake button this time because we're going to quickly go onto the brakes again at Tetra Rouge. Now, we're going to do that literally as the tarmac starts to appear more on our right side. As the grass veers away on that right-hand side. What I want you to do here is I want you to hit the brakes, just dab the brakes. I want you to chuck the car in. It'll do the same sort of flick, but you actually want that. You want to cut the inside, but making sure two tyres are on the left curb, and then you want to run out wide, making sure the right tyres stay on the right-hand side of the curb, okay? So literally, you're really abusing track limits to the maximum to carry as much speed as you can through Tetra Rouge. That is the goal here. Let's jump into this one then. So I dab the brakes, I chuck the car in, we cut the inside, we start accelerating, we're going to move to the outside. Notice I'm already on the overtake button and trying to accelerate forward as fast as possible. Now this lap is all about managing that overtake because it literally got enough for one lap and managing. So I'm going to keep hold of overtake until 218 miles an hour, then I release it. Because I'm already near the limit of the car. Yes, it's got 7th gear, but there's no point wasting it down here. I'm using so much more power to gain 1 mile an hour. Not needed. We get to this point here. The end of the catch fence on the left-hand side is our brake marker for the first chicane at Le Mans. Now, once again, I said about fourth gear. Fourth gear is such a useful gear in this car, and there is no exception here on this corner. So I'm going to hit the brakes, drop to fourth gear. Again, slow in, fast out. So I'm making sure I brake early here. If you can try brake at the marshals, but you're going to be really struggling to get the car slowed. You can brake earlier than this. Just make sure you slow down enough to get a good run out of the corner. So I'm going to drop down to fourth gear. Fifth gear, fourth gear. I'll start to release the brakes as I turn in towards the right hand side now. I cut over the curb. I'm going to dab the brakes again, then go over towards the left. I'm instantly going to go on throttle now to really start managing the power and the power to the wheels. I then press the overtake. Just be careful about pressing the overtake there with the curb. It can fling you off sometimes. Once you're back on the straight though, all the way down you go with the throttle, and all the way down towards the next chicane we go. You're going to go to about 208, 210 miles an hour here, then release it, and then you can manage this power. So what we're going to look for next on the right hand side, so we've got the first braking marker, second braking marker, which is the one we're interested in, the 200 board. We also have some trees in the distance. I use that in LMP1. So in LMP1, I'm using those trees in the distance. So these are two good markers. I actually want to brake in the middle of them. Remember, try not to be the last of the late breakers in the Valkyrie, because it's really gonna kick you in the butt if you do that. It's better to brake early, slow in, fast out. That's what we're doing right here. Okay, so in the middle of these markers, we're gonna hit the brakes. Fourth gear again for the chicanes. Fourth gear for most corners, to be honest with you, on the exit as well. So we hit the brakes with 5th gear, 4th gear. Again, as you can see, we're trying to manage the braking there because we hit the brakes a bit early, but that's fine because slow in, fast out. Over towards the right we go. We clip the inside, instantly on the throttle again. Notice that we're not 100%, just trying to get the car around. Then the overtake button hits. Get a little bit of wheel spin, nothing major here. It's a bit more, it's less risky to use the overtake there with that curb, and we continue on out. So we used 210 on the previous one. I would highly recommend you use 208 to 210 on this one as well. Start to release it here as we head towards Mulsanne. Now, on the left-hand side there is the 100 board. This is your brake marker. You brake just after this. And what I want you to do is brake in a straight line. Now, to do this, because it's a corner, I want you to turn towards the first curb and then head towards the outside of the corner on the left-hand side. Now, on this particular lap, I went down to 2nd gear. You do not need to do that. You can do this corner in 3rd gear only, and that's what I highly recommend for this corner, okay? So I'm going to point towards, you can just see the curb in distance there. I'm going to point towards that curb, and I'm going to go hard on the brakes and drop down to 3rd gear. Do not go to 2nd gear, there's no need. 3rd gear is all you need. Again, I'm just in the braking accordingly with the, just coming off it and going back on it. Drop to 3rd gear now, and we go through the corner. I notice we're about 50% throttle. Once we get straight, we then hit the overtake button, and off we go. Now, you got to be careful here, 3rd gear exits, because it can cause some wheel spin, can cause some power oversteer, so you do have to be careful of that. This is a very long acceleration period, okay? So you want the overtake button all the way to 218 again. That's the number I've picked here. Very good in terms of you're not really wasting some of that energy. So we're going to get to this point here. Now this, I do slightly wrong. I do Indianapolis slightly wrong, and I will explain it all now. The 100 board on the left is a good brake marker. Now you need to brake a little bit more than I do at this moment in time, okay? You definitely need to drop a gear at this moment as well. So you're going to hit the brakes. You're going to turn into the corner. Obviously, you'll have to release the brakes a little bit to make sure the car turns in, and then hard on the brakes again. So it's critical you actually slow the car down enough in this first part, ready for Indianapolis. If you don't do that, what will happen is you'll just go deep, and this is exactly what I'm going to do on this particular lap, but I still managed to recover it well enough to make it a good lap. So there we go, on the brakes there. Notice I didn't hit the brakes fully. That did cost us. So now I'm trying to slow the car down, realizing I've just outbrought myself a little bit. We do get the car slowed. We don't hit the apex there. We go up to 3rd gear, instantly trying to get on the power. That will have cost me 2 to 3 tenths of a second at least on that corner. We continue on now, and what we're going to be looking for is on the right-hand side, the 2nd Gantt sign, the one in the middle. Now, if you do Indianapolis perfectly, you might have to brake just before this because you're carrying much more speed. This is my brake marker, though. This time, because I did it very poorly in Indianapolis, it's obviously when it hits the edge of my screen. I'm going to hit the brakes. Do you go to 2nd gear for this one? You can do just to get rotation, then 3rd gear. You don't have to. You can just do it in 3rd gear. Similar to Mulsanne, you're going to have to be careful on the exit from wheel spin. So if you are struggling with wheel spin, just come off the throttle and then go back on. That should stop some of the wheel spin. But you do want to hit the overtake button. The whole idea here is you want to get up to maximum speed as quick as possible. Notice there, I'm trying to apply the throttle. Now I go to 100. I'm getting a bit of wheel spin, so it's going to cost me a little bit of time there. You can see the wheel spin stops, and then the rest go back up. That is literally a wheel spin, stops, the rest go back to where it should be, and then continues on. Overtake button now as we continue towards the Porsche curves here. Once again, looking around 282, 10 miles an hour here. We head over towards the left-hand side, and on the right, we've got this orange painted barrier. The Porsche curves, you're going to get those little tweaks in the car that I talked about earlier on in the lap. Okay, so you do have to be careful with this one, especially on this first part here. So you're going to hit the brakes, go to 5th gear. If you can apply a little bit of throttle, the tweaks should reduce itself in this first part, and then the rest of it should be a bit more smoother. It's a tricky one, I will be honest with you, but if you just hit the brakes, go to 5th gear and turn in, the car should stick. It should stick, okay? Watch how I do it right here then. Okay, so we'll hit the brakes, 5th gear, and then we're going to turn in. And we're going to try and accelerate. Notice we've got a flick of the car. I managed to catch it. And now I'm understeering, oversteering, doing all sorts of weird stuff because of that flick. Over towards the left-hand side we go. Probably could have done that flat without that lift, to be honest with you, as we continue on. We're going to turn in here as we go through here. We lift off a little bit just to maintain some composure in the car. On the left-hand side, we've got the green grass. Grass is no other colour. I don't know why I said green grass. The grass to tarmac there on the left-hand side. This is our brake marker. We're going to hit the brakes, drop to 4th gear for this right-hander. Once again, you'll feel the flick of the car to the right-hand side. Just try and catch it if it does that. And what I mean by catch it, just let the car turn in and then just keep the steering in one place. The car should stick and then continue on through. Remember, it's got a lot of downforce here. It's just this weird flick that it does occasionally. It is bizarre, and that's all I can say about it, really. Whole point here is you want to try and just manage the car. So you want to go on throttle as best as you can just to maintain some stability. There's that flick that I've got there. I'm trying to manage it now. So we look for the RMC sign, the second to last one here. Now I've gone to 5th gear. Wrong move. It's okay if you want stability, But if you want a fast lap, fourth gear is where you need to stay. Okay, so I stay in fourth gear, but just apply a little bit of throttle. Yes, you may suffer a little bit of a flick, but don't worry. On the exit, if you're in fourth gear, you're going to fly out the corner. In fifth gear, you're going to struggle a little bit. Now, you will notice every time we've hit the brakes, we've regenerated a little bit of energy, and that allows us to use the overtake button after this corner, okay? And that's what we're trying to do throughout this entire lap. It's just generate a little bit more energy to continue using that overtake button. So we go through here, a little bit more stable than fourth gear, but notice how we're low in the power band. So yes, the overtake button's going to get us there, but we are losing tenths of a second because we're not in fourth gear. Anyway, the overtake button has now finished. We can't use it anymore. We're out of energy, but we're going to head towards the final corners. On the right side then, we've got the dark grey into a lighter grey there in terms of a brake marker. This is our brake marker for the first part of the 2 chicanes. So, brake early, remember. You don't want to brake late for this one and run wide and invalidate a lap. It's been 3 minutes into the lap. You want to finish this lap. So, brake early. You can see the transition there. Just brake at this point. You will make the corner if you brake at this point. Now, you can cut the insides of these corners. Remember, bumper cam feels more narrow than it actually is. This car is actually quite wide. So you can cut more than you realize on these corners. Just take it nice and stable as we go into here. So we're going to drop down to third gear in a second. There we go. Through the right we go. We're heading over towards the right-hand side. And we're looking for the start of that curb there. This is our turn-in marker, or be prepared to turn in marker. Okay, so if we hit the brakes before we get that, we have to do that to slow the car down. But when we get to that curb, we need to make sure we're turning left. And the reason for that is the weight transition. Now, on the exit of this chicane, you can use 2 gears, third or fourth gear. Third gear, maximum acceleration, very easy to spin the car. Fourth gear, very stable, and you'll get in the power band very quickly. It's a bit different from fourth to fifth. Third to fourth is very quick in the power band. So I highly recommend fourth gear for this one, just to make sure you survive the lap. But there we go. We turn in here, over towards the right. We do mount the sausage a little bit. It's absolutely fine. Fourth gear, hit the overtake button, head towards the line. And for this one, this is a 3-minute 12.9. We're not going to go into a fast lap because we'll be here for another 3 minutes. Well, that's going to be it for Daily Race A. Then let's jump to Daily Race B, where we're at Brands Hatch in Group 3 machinery. Here we are then on the start finish straight, and I'm in the Porsche 911 GT3R here, plus 5 brake bounce for those wondering as well. And we're already straight into our first brake marker on the left-hand side, the 2 board right there. So really clear marker for this one. You're going to hit the brakes hard initially. You're going to drop down to third gear, and I want you to release the brakes and try and get the car turned in. You really need to clip the curb on the inside to make sure you make this corner. If you go wide, you're going to struggle to bring the car back. It's very critical you get the car turned in here. So literally, you can see the 2 board right there. Hit the brakes at this moment in time and then start to release the brakes to get the car turned into third gear. Notice I instantly release the brakes. I get the car turned in. I need to clip the curb on the inside. There we go. I can then start to accelerate. I use the compression of Paddock Hill there because the compression will just keep the car rotated to keep me continuing up the hill towards Druids. Now, on the left-hand side there, we have this red painted barrier. I want you to brake just before you get to that. You can see I've just applied the brake right now. It's just before I get there. The reason for that is you don't want to go too deep for this corner. It's all about trying to get around the corner as quick as you can. You're going to drop to first gear. Now, for the exit of this corner, it's a little bit tricky on racing hard tyres. You will suffer some oversteer. So you do have to go from 50 to 100% throttle, not 0 to 100, because all that's going to happen is you're going to spear right or spear left. We go hard on the brakes then. We're going to drop down to first gear here then. So there we go. First gear, trying to get the car turned. We'll go on to throttle now. Notice there about 50%. I'm literally trying to progress that throttle. Still get a little bit of oversteer, but much more catchable as we continue on out of this corner. We're going to head over towards the right-hand side then. And we have the green part of the tyres or the 1 board on the right-hand side. This is our next brake marker, okay. We're going to head towards the curb on the outside as well. And that's sort of our marker to then turn in terms of the corner, Graham Hill corner. You can use all of the curb on the exit as well. So it opens up quite wide on the exit. So it does give you a bit of functionality. Is that the best word? Not too sure. But it gives you some freedom there to run out wide if you need to. I recommend using that, but not hitting it straight on. Just coming in from the sides. We hit the brakes here. Notice we're trail braking, trying to get the car turned in. We clip the curb, we accelerate out, and watch what happens now. We use the curb there. Gives us freedom then to continue on through. So this is where the GP circuit exits the Indy circuit, where we're approaching now. And on the right side there, we've got the green part of the barrier or the 1 board here. Now, for this corner, do not go in too tight. Very easy to go in very tight here. Go, oh yes, I'm on for a perfect lap and have a horrendous exit. It's all about trying to carry the speed through this corner because it's a long acceleration period. It's a long back straight here. So all you need to do is either approach a middle of the road approach or wide line and really come back sharpish to get a really good start to this straight. I prefer the middle of the road approach, so that's the one I'm going to show right here, okay? So I'm going to drop down the gears here, and then I'll start trail braking very quickly as I'm doing right now, and I'm trying to get the car turned in. What I'm looking for is the sector line. There I see it. I can start to accelerate. Now, you may run a little bit wide here. Make sure you just straighten up the steering as quick as you can, and then come back on the circuit. If you keep hard turning when you touch that grass, well, you're just going to spear off towards the left-hand side. You don't want that to happen. So, as you head towards the grass, start to release the steering a little bit. It'll just allow the car to straighten up, and it means you will not spear off. That gantry we just passed, as long as you're around 40 seconds when you hit that, you should be on for a very good lap indeed. Now, on the right-hand side there, we have this red painted barrier. I want you to hit the brakes just after this. I want you to drop down to 4th gear, then to 3rd gear, and really get the car turned in. You want to clip the curb on the inside. It's all about carrying speed here. The more you slow, the less downforce you use, and therefore you can't carry as much speed. And it's a cycle. Then you brake even more. Then you travel even less in terms of speed. Then you can't even use as much downforce. And then you struggle even more. So it's all about carrying the speed to use the downforce to get the car around. So that's what we're going to do here, okay? So drop down to 4th gear, we trail brake, then to 3rd gear, trying to get the car turned in. We get close to the curb, we then start accelerating. The car will stick. So it will stick through there. And on the exit, just be careful about the curb shrinking there. That can spin you off if you are on the grass. Next marker is on the left-hand side. Once again, using these red painted barriers all the way around Brands Hatch. Really obvious clear brake marker. So we're going to brake just before we get to that on the left-hand side. We're going to drop down to 3rd gear. Now, for like, this is ultra critical now, right? This curb you need to mount. If you do not touch this curb, you're going to struggle to get a fast lap. But you also need belief that the car will stick. Now, some cars will struggle on this curb. This is why the Porsche is good. The Ferrari can work here as well, as I was using that earlier on today. So you need to hit the brakes, and I want you to chuck the car in, mount the curb bad, and then accelerate out the corner. Notice that because you mounted it, you get the rotation and you get more of an angle of attack, so you can carry more speed. If you go for a wider line, you do not get that, so just be careful of that. We're going to continue on through Dingle Dell, keep towards the left-hand side. We're looking for this one board here. This is our brake marker. Braking just before we get to it. Now, I'm going to hit the brakes initially, and then I'm going to start to release the brakes and let the car roll. I can't see the apex right now, but I know roughly where it is. And my goal here is to cut the inside of the corner. That means I've got more of an angle of attack, and I'm not going to understeer off into the grass. If you go into the grass on the exit, you're going to struggle to get the left-hander prepared for, and that's going to ruin your lap. It really will ruin your lap. You really need to make sure you do not run wide on this corner. So as I say, we're going to hit the brake, get the one board, we get the car turned in, let the car roll a little bit. We've cut the inside now, we can start to accelerate. Well, to get as far right now as possible, we nearly touched the grass, we may have clipped it, but we weren't on it for long because we could escape it. If you're on it any more than that, you're compromised. You'll be more to the left than we are now, and we need to be as far right as possible for this left-hander. Now, we've got this catch fence here where these 3 marshals are, literally your brake marker for this left-hander. Now, this corner is cambered. So what I mean by camber, so the corner is sort of like that. You want to get on the inside because it means it will carry more of the speed. The car will compress into the circuit. So you have to get on the inside here. 2nd gear, the more on the inside you get, the more speed you can carry. If you're on the outside line, you're not carrying any speed whatsoever at all. So get on the inside here. That's what our plan is. That's what we do right now, using all that curb on the inside. Now, you may run a little bit wide on the exit. Don't worry too much. Just make sure your car is straight, then slowly come back onto the circuit. We're going to head over towards the left-hand side now for the final corner. Now, on the left-hand side, we've got 3 board, we've got 2 board. We're ignoring all of these. We actually have a green marker that we used earlier on as well in the lap as our brake marker for this final corner. You're going to hit the brakes and you're going to turn in. And you're going to let the car roll a little bit because it's going to go over crest of the hill. If you accelerate on the crest of the hill, the front will lift. You'll understeer off into the gravel. You don't want that. Just make sure you get over the crest of the hill, then start accelerating. The car will make it round nice and smooth. And that's the critical part of this last corner. It's one corner where most people get it wrong because they don't think about the crest of the hill and the weight transfer as you go over it. That's what we're going to do now, though. Using that green marker on the left-hand side, though, we're going to hit the brakes, release the brakes. Now, turn in, let the car roll a little bit. We've gone over the crest of the hill. We can now start to accelerate. And notice we're still pushed a little bit wide, but not as far wide. We can then head towards the inside and head towards the start-finish line. Stick towards a very tight line for the fastest lap. I didn't know I was going to get 23.9, but here we go with a fast lap. 2 board on the left-hand side, hit the brakes. 3rd gear, release brakes, turn in, make sure you hit the curb, start to accelerate. Use the compression of paddock killers. We head towards Druids. Remember, the red paint bar on the left-hand side, hit the brakes, drop down to 1st gear. Be careful on the exit. You will get oversteer, so just apply that throttle gradually and you should be fine. Look at that oversteer there. On the right side, green or one board there. We hit the brakes, turn in, use all the curb on the exit. It's available for you to use and freedom to use that as well. We're going to continue now towards the one board on the right side. Hit the brakes. Middle of the road approach is the best one here. Get it turned in. When you see the set to line start to accelerate, you may run a little bit wide again. Just straighten up, then slowly come back to the circuit. Don't hard turn there, otherwise you'll spin out. We're going to head towards Hawthorne's then. Looking on the right side here for the red painted barrier. A bit harder to see here in terms of daylight, but even so, it's still there. We clip it. We're going to continue on through here. We'll continue to the next one then. Red paint barrier on the left. Just before that, we hit the brakes. Use all the curb on the inside. Start to accelerate. Bit of curb down the left that you can use as well. Accelerate through Dingle Dell. Looking for the one board on the right hand side. There it is. Hit the brakes. Release brakes. Let the car roll. Then continue on through. Head over towards the right hand side now. Catch fence on the right. Hit the brakes. Second gear. Turn in. Use all the camber. Use all the curb on the inside. Continue on through. We're going to head towards the final corner now. Looking for the green marker on the left hand side. There it is. Hit the brakes. Third gear. Let the car roll. Over the crest of the hill we go. Now on throttle. Continue on through. Head towards the right hand side. Head towards the start finish line. And once again, that's a 123.9. We're going to jump to some Delta data now. Let's see where we can improve a little bit more on this lap. So here we are again in Delta, and I've loaded the fastest Porsche 911 GT3 R lap in the world right now. It is a 123.7, so only 2 tenths quicker than my lap at the moment. I did my lap first thing this morning, so I should have time to find here. And that's what we're going to do. That's what Delta tells us. It's fantastic for that. So let's kick off then. We head towards turn 1. We're even. We go through there, and we're already seeing a time improvement that we need to do here of half a tenth or so there. So that's very interesting indeed. Let's look at the middle of the corner here in terms of speed. They're just carrying more speed through the corner. That's what I need to do. I just need to carry that bit more speed. And I talked about that in the guide. Carrying more speed here will benefit you massively from using downforce. All right, so half a tenth down as we go through there. We're still half a tenth down, give or take there. So we don't lose too much at Druids. Through Graham Hill we go then. We do lose a little bit of time at Graham Hill as we go through here. So it's good to know that I'm losing time at the start of the lap because that's the lap, part of the lap where you restart the most. So it should be a very easy improvement there. So again, I'm just not carrying enough speed through the exit there, which just cost me another half tenth or so. So we're a tenth down right now. Remember, we're only 2 tenths down overall in the lap. So we're seeing it very quickly here. So as we go into here, the left-hander, we do that about even there. There's no issues there whatsoever. So we're going to head towards the end of the back straight. Through the right we go. We don't really lose too much time. Initially, it looks like we lose a lot of time in the middle of the corner. But on the exit, we are carrying much more speed. So we just took a better line there. So they went for a fast in, slow out. I did the opposite. By the time we get to the next corner, it's pretty much even. So we're going to hit the brakes now. Through the right we go. Now, they did do this corner a little bit better than myself. So why is that the case? So we're on the brakes a little bit earlier than they are. Middle of the corner. They are slightly quicker. And once again, it's all about carrying that speed. Brands Hatch is known for this as well. So they're just carrying a bit more speed. So that's all I have to do. More confidence in the car. Talked about it in the lap guide. We're seeing it right here in Delta. So as we go through this right-hander now. Did I lose time? There is the question. Yes, I did. I did lose time. Look, yes, I lost some time there. I gained a little bit back, though, on the exit. So we're going to get to the left-hander. And that is the 2 tenths of a second there. So all that section, I just need to carry a bit more speed and I will be able to get a much better lap time. But you're seeing it right here. It gives you the tips that you need in the fact that if you carry the speed, the car will stick and you'll get faster lap times. If you're braking or overslowing the car, you're going to struggle. And we're seeing it here. As I say, I need to focus on turn 1 and then just all of this first set to here. So through Graham Hill, once I do this first part, I should have a tenth of a second. Then I can focus on the second part of the lap. That's what I would advise you to do as well in terms of focus and strengths. Focus on this first part, get it as best as you can, then start to focus on the second part of the track because then you can just hit retry. So if you don't nail the first part, just hit retry. Go again, go again, go again. Get that consistency in play here at Brands Hatch and it should help you get that lap time down because the lap times this week are going to be insanely close because it's such a high speed lap. Now, we are done here at Brands Hatch. What we're going to do now for Daily Race C is go to Yamagiwa in reverse, which we haven't done for a very long time. 2023 was the last time. And we're in Group 4 machinery. Here we are on the start-finish straight then. I'm in the GT by Citroen race car in Group 4. +5 brake balance there on that right-hand side. As we head towards turn number 1 then, we're going to focus our attention to that left-hand side here, where you have that really dark patch of the barrier, or if it's a gap, I'm not quite sure there, or the orange painted barrier as well. They're both there. It's literally obvious on that left-hand side. you're going to hit the brakes. Now, for this one, I want you to aim towards the corner a little bit. So I want you to aim towards the middle of the circuit as you approach this corner. And as you start to release the brakes, the car will then turn in to finally hit that apex. You're going to drop down to around second gear for this one. But the critical part is you have to aim for the corner a little bit. It's not a case of staying out wide for as long as possible. So that's what we're going to do right now. So we hit the brakes here. We're going to turn towards the corner. Notice how we do that. It's going to be down towards second gear. There we go. We're going to start to release the brakes. And then we can start to accelerate, especially if we clip these curbs. The curbs at Yamagiwa, in reverse or forward, are very grippy, so they will pull you around these corners, so it's really good to use them. We exit that corner, then we're going to head over towards the left-hand side here, and what we're going to be looking for next is coming up right now on our left-hand side. It is the 50 board, or the white line there as well. Now, this is a chicane, which is very easy to get wrong, because you're going to hit the brakes, and then I want you to chuck the car in. You have to cut a lot of the inside. You need to make sure 2 wheels stays on the concrete curb, but the rest of it, you're jumping over. Now, what you'll find is the car will oversteer on the exit. Just be careful of that. It should still be fine. It's one of those where it's very easily catchable, but you need to make sure you cut as much as you can. If you don't, you've got a risk of running wide and getting a track limit penalty. So that's what I'm doing right now. Notice how much I cut there. I get a big jump, a little bit of oversteer. I catch it. I continue on through the lap. We're going to head over towards the left-hand side next then. Now, for this next brake marker, it's going to be for a hairpin coming up here. It's the end of the sector as well, for those wondering here. And on the left-hand side, we've got the start of this curb here, or the 50 white line. I'm not highlighted the 50 here because you're more focused on the curb and the white line. But if you want to use a 50, it's right there for you. Now, with it being a hairpin, it's very easy to get, well, turn into a very tight line. And you don't want to do that. You want to take a wide line in because it's a long acceleration period after. You're going to be accelerated for quite a while before you get to the other dreaded chicane at this circuit, okay? So I'm going to hit the brakes. I'm going to follow this left-hand curb for quite a while initially and then turn in. So there we go. Notice here, we're not turning in at all. Nowhere near the curb right now. As we release the brakes, the car turns in. We get close to the curb, we start to accelerate. We actually touch the curb there as well, which is perfect. It means we hit the apex. We continue on through there. And now we can carry all this speed all the way down to our next marker. And you can see it's a long acceleration period. No braking for quite a while now. So we're going to stick towards the left-hand side here, and we're going to head down the hill now then, and we're going to then go towards the right hand side. Now we've got Armco on the right. We're going to focus our attention on the Armco as we turn in here, because we have this silver to yellow there. This is a really good lift off marker. Okay, lift off marker. It's not a brake marker, it's a lift off marker. You're only going to brake in a straight line, so you lift off here, allows the car to settle itself. Then when the car gets straight, you then hit the brakes. Now, it's critical you get the exit right on the final part of the chicane. So to do that, you're going to have to slow the car down, even over-slow the car down for the left, and make sure you use as much of the left as you can to make sure you open up the angle for the right. Watch what happens here. Hard on the brakes, we go over towards the left-hand side. Notice now we're going to try and carry the speed here through this corner, over towards the right now. 2 wheels always remaining on some form of curb there, otherwise it's track limits. And continue on through then. Happy days indeed as we get towards the end of this sector right here. So what's that? 53.3 there. Definitely got a temp or 2 still in that one. Going to continue over towards the left-hand side now. For this corner, there is no braking required. You can dab the brakes. However, what we're going to do is we're just going to turn in. Make it easy. Less interaction in terms of human intervention here. Makes it more consistent. So we're looking for 107 miles an hour. We get to that there. We then start to accelerate through. We clip the curb. Remember what I said? Clipping that curb will bring you around. Notice the grip there. It just swings you around. It's insane here at Yamagiwa in terms of reverse or forward. As I say, they're just crazy grip. We're going to head towards the S's now. The S's you do not brake for, but it's all about getting the right line for the S's, okay? The right racing line. So as we head down here, we're going to go onto the curb on the left-hand side. It opens ourselves up for the right-hand side. And we're going to go all the way onto this curb now for this right-hand side. There we go. And then for this left, we can turn into it. Don't go on the curb before it starts. If you hit it as it starts, you'll fling off and go into the barrier. Make sure it's started, then go onto the curb. We head over towards the left-hand side now for the final corner. We're going to brake just before we get to the 50 board on that left-hand side. But you want to trail brake most of this. It's a long right-hander. And you don't necessarily want to go very tight in terms of the line here. You want to stay sort of middle of the road approach, slightly to the right of the middle. And that's what we're going to do right here. We do have an accelerating marker for this corner as well. So I know some of you will struggle with this corner because it's so long to be able to judge the exit. But there is an accelerating marker there, and I'll explain it when we get to it. But as I say, trail brake into this one. aim for the middle of the circuit, if not tiny bit to the right of the middle, and you should be absolutely fine. That's what we're doing right here. Trail braking all the way to it. Drop to 4th gear here as well as we continue through the right-hander. What we are looking for here is those right there. Those billboards right there. So this is our accelerator marker. When we see these, we want to start accelerating. Now, if you've gone a bit more to the left here, more towards the middle of the circuit, you won't have to lift off. The car will turn in, you click the curb, and you can go full throttle to the line. Because I was a bit tighter than I wanted to be here, what you're going to see is me go on and off the throttle just to try and get the car turned in. Remember, I'm trying to clip the curb on the inside because it has tons of grip. That's what I'm aiming for here. So let's see what I do and how I do it. So we're going to continue on through here now then. And you're going to see me lift off, back on, lift off, back on, lift off, back on. Notice how the car slowly turns in. I clip the curb, I go, happy days, I'm going to make it. Arguably, a couple of those lifts maybe not needed because we don't even use all the curb on the exit. But even so, we can head towards the line. Stick towards the left-hand side for the shortest route to the line. Otherwise, head towards the right-hand side to start your next lap. Okay, and that was a 140.742. Right, fast lap now then. Dark patch, all the orange on the left-hand side. We hit the brakes. Middle of the track, then 2nd gear. Lift off, turn in, clip the curb. Happy days. Continue on through. Head over towards the left-hand side. We're looking for the 50 board. Remember, you have to cut a lot of the inside for this chicane to really carry the speed here. That's what we're doing. 4th gear, in we go. Clipping a lot of the inside, a little bit of oversteer, nothing major. We catch it, we continue on through. Head over towards the left-hand side, just after the start of the curb, just at the 50 line. There it is. We're going to hit the brake. 2nd gear for this one. Wide line in, late apex, clip the curb, continue on through. Long acceleration period now towards the chicane. Remember what we're doing at the chicane here. We're looking for the silver to yellow on the Armco, our lift-off marker, into braking. Oversaw the car for the left, give us a good run on the right. There's the change in barrier, over towards the left, then the right, using all the curbs there. Make sure 2 wheels stay on the curbs at all times as we continue on through here. 53.3 there as we head over towards the left-hand side. You don't have to brake for this corner. I know some people are. You don't have to. Just lift off, turn in. Arguably, we could have gone a bit tighter here to make sure we clip the curb sooner, but even so, we still carry a good amount of speed here as we continue on through there. Now, the S is, it's all about the racing line. I said that in the slow-mo version of this. Let's see what we can do here then. So we're going to head down the hill, over towards the left-hand side, using the curb. Over towards the right, we're using more of the curb now to open up this fast left-hander, using more of the curb, make sure we're not going on the curb until it starts, and then looking for the 50 board here. Trail brake all the way through here. Stick towards the middle. This is a bit too tight. Look for those billboards. There they are. We can start accelerating, clip the curb. We continue on to the start-finish straight. Once again, that is a 1 minute 40.7. What we are going to do is jump to Delta then. We're going to have a look to see where we can improve and go that little bit quicker here at Yamagiwa in reverse. Here we are then in Delta. I've loaded Manu Rodriguez's lap, another pro driver here at Coach Dave Academy, and they've got a 140.4, 3 tenths quicker than we have gone. So let's find those 3 tenths and let's see if we can apply those techniques as well later on. We should be able to see them in Delta straight away. Heading towards turn number 1, through turn 1 we go. Absolutely identical. We do it slightly differently because we're a little bit down in the middle of the corner, which means we've hit the brakes earlier, but on the exit, we're absolutely fine there in terms of that one then. So we're going to head towards the chicane. This one, obviously, is one where you've got to absolutely yeet it. We talked about that in the video. And arguably, we do that a little bit better. I do yeet it a little bit more here as we go through there. Just carry a bit more speed. And that allows me to go up the hill. And yeah, we're up on the time right now then, which is good to see. So we're up as we go into this hairpin then. Are we on the brakes slightly early here is the question. A little bit early on the brakes. We both take a wide line, so that's critical. That was the tip I did suggest during this one then. So a wide line in, through we go. And I lose a little bit of time there in the hairpin. Good to know. So I will focus on that. We head down here then. And this is where the chicane is going to really matter. So we go to this point here. We lift off at the same time, obviously using the same marker there. We're then going to go on the brakes as we do. We go to look how much speed. Manu Rodriguez carrying there. 98 versus 92. My word, that is a lot of speed. And that's where I lose a tenth of a second straight off the bat. Just from not carrying enough speed there. And that carries all the way up the hill. Remember, it's uphill. These Group 4 cars don't have a lot of power, so Manu Rodriguez carrying a lot of speed there. That ventures towards 2 tenths of a second just from the chicane, carrying a bit more speed for the left-hander. I would still suggest to overslow the car if you are struggling at the chicane, but looks like I need to take some risk to get some reward. Right, so we're going to go up here then. So this into the right-hander we go. So we're basically 1.5 tenths down, nearly 2 tenths down as we go into here. Oh, interesting. I lose another tenth of a second there. What happens here then? So Manu Rodriguez goes for a tight line. Goes on the brakes a little bit here, but I'm already at less speed, so I just need to turn in earlier. And this is where I said I need to clip the curb. I don't clip the curb, which grips you around, and I lose a tenth of a second there right away. So I need to improve on that one. Quite clearly, Manu Rodri is in further. That's the yellow dotted line there. And that way, Manu Rodri is hitting the curb around here. I'm not hitting the curb until later on around here. And that is free real estate here. And you'll find, as we go through here, that time loss is literally all the way until I join, and then it's nothing then thereafter. Very interesting stuff. So I need to make sure I turn in a bit earlier on that corner. Through the S's we go. Obviously, that'll be about the same here. And we get to this point here. As we go into there, through we go. So I do lose a little bit. I break a little bit early here then. Manu Rodri goes for a tight line. That's really interesting, actually, because I was struggling with this tight line. But it looks like the tight line may work out for Manu Rodri. It comes together around this point here. But maybe using the curb there. That is really interesting. That's something I would have to check out actually in the replay itself. But Delta has pointed me in that direction, which is very interesting. What I would do, though, in terms of where to improve the techniques here, then the chicanes are critical. We saw that here. I gained time on Manu Rodri here. So there's more lap in the rank 1 time right now. I lose time in the chicane because I'm overslowing the car a little bit. And Manu Rodri is carrying the speed. And I need to make sure I'm using these curbs at Yamagiwa reverse to grip me round, pull me round the circuit to get that little bit more time. And that's what you need to do as well. And that is my top tip for Yamagiwa reverse. That's going to be it for me now then, folks. I do hope you have enjoyed this video as always. And if you have, make sure you give it a like. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions, of course. But that is it from me. Otherwise, I'm Martin Grady, otherwise known as Tishley, not otherwise known as Tishley straight off the bat there. I do hope you have enjoyed this. Make sure you are subscribed though for more weekly race guides here on the Coach Dave Academy Gran Turismo channel.